how would you like to make the first million? And we have Kelsey. She's Silver, and she's the founder of Foresight HQ TM trademark, the first AI augmented lead scoring tool for social media. Wow. And creators of the metrics, the matter TMO, you developed a couple of methods for turning messy marketing data. Okay. We're going to have a lot of fun with this podcast today. Messy marketing data into a strategic action. So, Kelsey, tell us what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that question here. I think there's a lot that can go into making your first million, but I'm a data nerd at heart, but I'm also a psychologist by training. So the first step is definitely knowing your numbers, and that's getting some clarity. So we talk about getting to that first million because we know that the 80% of businesses close within those first 2 years, and really that first million is a really good marker to identify whether you found the right niche, whether you're taking good steps. So knowing your numbers is essential, but I'm not talking about the numbers most people think. I'm not talking about follower count, subscriber count, things like that. I'm talking about the time it takes for someone to open their wallet for you the first time. The percentage of folks who buy from you and then come back and purchase from you again. We're talking about metrics that matter, hence my program, but we're talking about metrics that actually create revenue, not these shiny object vanity metrics. So the first step is definitely understanding what you need to know about your business, what story your business needs to tell you so that you can keep writing that story. The second step is, for me, very values driven, prioritizing people, not vanity. It's one of the main reasons that I built Foresight HQ, which is a platform that analyzes buyer psychology triggers. Because we know, and you've probably heard the jargon, trust recession, right? We're in a big trust recession. It takes a lot more. It takes up to 21 touch points for folks to buy from us now. And so prioritizing those more intimate relationships, the one-on-one conversations, but in a way that you can scale it is really essential. Your third step is really leveraging tiny tweaks for huge ROI. So I come from a corporate background. I was in corporate data analytics for over a decade, and you cannot burn it all to the ground and try to build it back up. You have to make tiny tweaks and see what the ROI is from that small tweak before you make the next change. So often small business owners, they kind of wipe the slate clean every time. And if you do that, you're basically creating a brand new business every 6 months. But if you make small tweaks every 30, 60 days, it's much easier to see whether you should adopt that change, abandon it, maybe just adapt it a little bit. That's continuous quality improvement. Then number 4 is building ethical human first systems. If you can't believe in what you're building and it's not supporting you and your lifestyle, then it's not sustainable. So scaling income also requires scaling trust, not just from your customers, but also your own personal trust. So if you have systems in place, you serve your customers in a way that you feel good about, much more motivating to keep that going. And then your 5th one is actually taking action on all the stuff we just talked about. So you're going to collect metrics, you're going to build those systems, you're going to prioritize people, but you actually have to do the thing. And I think where most people get stuck is they get all excited, they buy the domain name, they set up their hosting, they get their email address set up, and then
They stop.
enjoy
The implementation is
Yep, exactly. They enjoy the process of the building much more than the actual doing. And I'm one of those folks. I am severely ADHD. I have a lot going on.
Oh, welcome to my club.
I know,
Welcome.
right? I'm a mother.
Yeah.
I still have my corporate job. The brains, right?
Except to this podcast. This podcast, I love it because I'm talking with very inspiring entrepreneurs and I'm stay focused, but very difficult to keep me focused for long. I get distracted very easy. I'm a visual person. As you can see,
Yeah,
my background, yeah. A
yeah,
lot of people say, Harry, this background is so annoying. Why you have so many things moving? And I had to tell them because I'm a visual person. If I don't see
yeah.
moving things and images behind me, I get
You're gonna
bored
zone out.
and I check out. But anyway, Kelsey, become a millionaire in a tech as a tech entrepreneur is easy. We have this challenge in this podcast because 1 out of 5 millionaires that we have interviewed in this podcast, they are tech multimillionaires, tech entrepreneurs. And our audience might be under the wrong impression that, okay, it's easy to be a millionaire if I'm in tech. And especially I'm aware women in tech is even higher because it came to my attention and I'm on the space. I help tech companies to grow, to find funding. So I advise few of them. And I know that women, females, is actually, I think the 2%, very little percent get actually funding versus men in the tech space. So tell us the good, the bad, or the ugly, not only of being a tech entrepreneur, but also be a female tech entrepreneur. Is that easy to be a millionaire in tech? Because people listening, they see, it doesn't matter what I say here, people are listening and say, okay, 1 out of 5 millionaires are from tech, 1 out of 5 are for property.
Mhm.
I'm going to property, I'm going to easy to tech, and I'm
Right.
going to become a millionaire so easy.
Hmm.
What's the secret? Good, bad, and the ugly.
Sure. So I'll start with the reality. It's not easy to become a millionaire at all. It takes hard work, it takes dedication, and it takes vision. Most millionaires, it's less about what industry they get into and more about how they build their business. I built Foresight with an exit plan in mind.
Wow.
And whether or not I'm actually going to sell it or it is a totally different story, but I've
Mm.
structured the business in such a way for acquisition so that I know that I am not actually an integral part of the business. Um, and so that I did that intentionally. Whereas if I was going into coaching, I would be an integral part of the business.
Mhm.
And so the burden of sales would be on me, the burden of delivery would be on me. And so it's less about the industry and more about how businesses within those industries tend to be set up that
And how you
actually
scale it,
lend.
right?
Exactly. It lends itself to easier scaling. And I say easier with sort of big air quotes here because it's just
Hmm.
naturally progresses into that kind of scaling. As a female in tech, I can tell you it's 10 times harder, just like everything kind of feels to
Yeah.
regardless.
I'm aware.
But I'm also a mom. I also still have my corporate position.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm
Wow.
juggling a lot of different things. And I'll tell you this piece, not only am I the tech founder, I'm also the lead developer. I coded Foresight.
Wow, you coded.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I built the AI. It doesn't use third-party integrations with
Oh,
ChatGPT.
wow. Very impressive. You coded
So
yourself?
yeah,
My
well,
goodness.
yeah, because I have an
Wow, the
MIT
MVP.
certification in data analytics and predictive analytics. And so it was very important to me, which, kind of made me step off the path of the typical tech founder. It was very important to me that the AI algorithm was based on privacy, but also ethics and cultural representation. And so I couldn't have gotten that through a third party integration. So, depending on what's really important to you in your business, it's almost impossible to go the traditional route. So Foresight also does not accept investor funding. It's owned entirely by me because I don't
Wow.
want to be beholden to investors.
Wow.
So just to kind of put the nail in my own coffin on that one,
No,
um,
no, not necessary. Maybe it could be your best, the
right.
best
Well,
help.
and that's kind of the thing is you have to decide what's really important to you. And for me, getting to a million quickly through investor funding was less important than keeping the values that made Foresight HQ
Absolutely.
what I wanted to bring. And that's
Absolutely.
not to say that folks who take investor funding or are less than, by no means. It's just
Hmm.
that I wouldn't have been able to achieve the goal that I had.
Hmm.
Other businesses absolutely will be able to achieve the goals that they have with investor funding. So
Hmm.
it's finding what's important to you and what works for you and what keeps you motivated And when you have sort of those puzzle pieces put together, while it's not an easy
Mm.
road, it is a road that you can follow.
Oh, you are the perfect person to ask you this question because we do have a lot of listeners, tech entrepreneurs, because a lot of tech millionaires show up to a podcast. So you are the perfect person to ask you this question because we have on the space, like I said, I'm on the space. So I talk with a lot of startup founders, and the typical struggling person, this is how they look like. They are software developers, same like you, they can write code. But the step number one, developing the MVP, minimum viable product, they forget about the M, and they, because they like coding, they create, and then that they create this huge elephant because they are software developers, they hate marketing, they hate sales, so they're not going out to ask the market, to ask the people what kind of product they want to buy, in what form they want to buy,
Yeah.
trying to adapt it to the client's need, right, and create
Mhm.
something huge that they think that will change the world. Go and talk with all the client and talk to people, go out and talk to people, um, find out what the market wants and adapt to it, right?
Yep.
But you are one of the exception, okay? Because to be clear, the data of this podcast, you are a data girl, so you know the data of this podcast has shown that actually the tech millionaires are more sales and marketing
Yep.
orientated than the developers. They especially in tech, they go out, they know about marketing, know about sales. They ask a lot of people what kind of product they want, what they're looking for, how much they're willing to pay. And after they have gathered all this information, they go back and they develop something small. Maybe they pay a developer to do it, and they
Mhm.
scale it like that. And that's the tech millionaires that come here. Very rare. It comes someone like you that is tech entrepreneur, but actually write the code. But that's the other thing, that actually the software developer successful that come to this podcast to talk about tech, they spend the whole podcast talking about sales and marketing and very little about coding. Because if you want to go to 0 to 1 product
Yep.
market fit, it's a marketing exercise.
Yep.
And so my question to you, Kelsey, is how you being a data girl, so introverted, because it goes with your personality, otherwise you won't become a coder or a data person. How
True.
you get out of your comfort zone and actually think what you think? Because when I say go out and talk to people, seeing you like sharing, and I'm like, wow, how she managed to change? Because this, I think, this is the biggest barrier, the biggest challenge that
Yeah.
we have with tech founders out there, especially being a girl. So tell us a little bit about your journey. When do you decided that if you're gonna be a geek girl behind your computer writing code, this thing's not gonna work, and you have to go out there?
Yeah. So it's been a very interesting ride. I will say that I had no idea I was going to get into computers at all. I knew that I was techie. I built my first computer with my father when I was 3 years old. I played with computers, but did
Wow,
not code computers. But my
wow,
dad was a software engineer.
oh
And
wow.
so when I went to college, I knew that I wanted to go into psychology. I actually wanted to get my PhD in operational psychology. But I loved computers, so I went ahead and took my computer science class, and then I got my master's degree in couples and family therapy. And I went on to just do therapy. And I actually specialized in adolescent females who had experienced sexual trauma that resulted in drug use. So, very
Oh
heavy
wow.
topic. And
Very
I burnt
specific
out.
also, eh?
Yeah, very specific, very heavy. So I burnt out really quickly, and my agency offered me the opportunity to transition into administrative work and implement their electronic health record. And so I got to feed into some of that technology and my love for computers while still getting to care for the clients by making the clinicians' lives easier. And then that transitioned into the data analytics where I got to see how, what variables make it more likely that someone's going to succeed in treatment, and what aspects of our programs were really most effective with people. And that really started to spark for me these kind of marriage between data and humans and where we start to do things. Well, and that's kind of where the switch flipped for me because I did have a minor in marketing, so I already had some background, but I started getting invited to do presentations. and
Mm.
I started getting
Wow, you're
invited.
also a speaker as well. My goodness,
Yeah.
you're taking all the boxes. You're gonna do
So,
very well in life. Yeah.
I've been very, very fortunate. I've been very fortunate.
Yeah.
And
Emotional intelligence. That's what
yeah,
I call
well,
what you have.
and exactly. And the background in psychology has really helped me with that because I
Mm.
can read people. I'm extraordinarily introverted, but I can read people and I kind of put on my theater kid mask. I play a part when I go up on stage.
Wow.
I'm still Kelsey, I'm still authentic,
But we have
but
to put a
I,
performance out there. This is I'm
exactly.
on the space.
Right,
If
right.
we're
So I
speakers, it's a show. Some
exactly
people
that's
says
it.
to me, Harry, why do you dress so weird like this all the time with this some shiny clothes? And I said, look, this is part of if
Exactly.
you're a speaker, this is like a magician. You're not only talking, you are putting a show out there. You need to dress a little bit different. This is how this works.
Exactly, exactly. So, I've spoken keynotes in front of 2,000 people, and
Hmm.
all you have to worry about is the row in front of you, and it's
Hmm.
10 people, and that's all you worry about. And
I've done it.
so
It's a scary thing to
it
do.
is
Yeah,
scary.
it's
It
not
is
the same
scary.
thing, 100 people, 200 people, 500 to 2,000
Yeah.
people, because I've done it. And, when you have these big screens and you see your face so big
Yep.
and you say, what is the people, You used to see to the eyes of the people. And then when you have 2,000 people, you need to look at the red dot because it's a camera pointing at
Yeah.
you and it's implying, and
Which
then you
camera
cannot
has the
see
light?
anybody. You freaked out because it
Yeah,
happened to me on the
exactly.
first
Exactly.
time of a big gig. So
Yeah. And with
it's not
everything,
easy.
right? How do you get into Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Every
Mm,
time you do something, one more time, one more time, one more time, you're going to get better at it. Your brain is going to realize, like it's an actual psychological thing.
mhm,
Your brain is going to start to get used to
mm,
that fear. It's going to say, wait, I am safe here. Nothing bad happened, or what happened wasn't so terrible. And so the anxiety starts to decrease. It's literally
mhm.
exposure therapy, literally
Mm,
exposure therapy.
mm,
So when I talk to other developers who really desperately want to make something that changes the world,
mhm,
you have to start with talking to people. Most software developers are familiar with Jira. It's a ticketing
mm,
system, back-end support system. So, well,
mm,
guess what? You still need user stories in order to fuel your Jira system. In order
mhm,
to fuel all of the changes, all of your change
mhm,
management, you still start with user stories. It's just that
mm,
you're not used to having to go get those user stories. You get them
mhm,
from support tickets. Well,
mm,
the folks in your audience are your support ticket. The people you talk to that gave you the idea that this would be really cool and change the world, that's
mm,
your user stories. And so you
mm.
just go get more of those. And it all starts with talking with one person, and then you talk to the next person,
And
and
how
then
you
the
deal
next.
with bias? Oh, this woman is in tech. She doesn't know what she's talking about. This is how you deal with bias and with people that will dismiss you just because who you are and how you look, even before even listen to you talk about your project. They are putting a
Yep.
defense mechanism which is out there in
Oh,
funding
yeah.
in tech in general, right? You go to the other day in this podcast, it was a girl tech entrepreneur, and she told me, Harry, you won't believe I went to a tech conference to talk about my company, and it's the first time in my life that I don't have to queue for toilets. And was the opposite. The boy toilet was
Yeah.
big queue, and we are the most
We just get to
happy
walk right.
then in our toilet. And she's being sarcastic, but putting on the space that is a male-dominated industry, and you need strategic partners in order to
Yeah.
grow a tech company, in order to grow any company, and eventually when you need it, you're gonna need investors. And how you related with these people and how you create these, how you grow your business when it's a
Hmm.
big bios attached to it. In United Kingdom, we have a good movement, women in tech, but still very
Hmm.
tiny. What doing there in order to more equality to the process. And have one story that I always share here. I interviewed the Minister of Finance of Zimbabwe, I think like a year ago, don't remember. And this is what he told me. He told me, Harry, we are lending money to people in Zimbabwe, to the farmers. So they take this money, they grow some vegetables, they sell it, they money, they pay back the loans, and then they come back and they get more loans. And it's amazing what we're doing with the program. He told me, however, this is what is happening. The data is showing us he told me, I think that 80% that the majority of the women, they were paying back the loans and asking for more versus the men. So he told me, as government, we are very happy to lend to women as government, because they've been very responsible with the lending and growing the business. Whether our data shows that we doing the same lending to men, and it hasn't been so successful in terms of growing. The Minister of Finance of Zimbabwe told me this in person, yeah, in an interview.
Yeah. It's that
So
80-20 rule. You gotta love the
yeah.
80-20
So
rule.
then, Kelsey, so women, they are good handling funds, probably better than men in terms of being growing sustainable. And I want to add this in the other thing. A very wise person came to this podcast and told me, Harry, don't build a unicorn, build a camel. Build something that is waterproof, that can be on the desert for months and months and take it very little, that can survive any storm. Forget about this unicorn thing. Be the camel, and you will be fine in tech. So, what can you? What's your opinion about all these statements that I just
Yeah.
share with you?
So I think I'm very fortunate in that I grew up, so to speak, in a very female-dominated industry. I was in behavioral healthcare. And so I was uplifted by females for most of my career. And so when I entered the tech space, I kind of was a little bit full of myself, for lack of better phrasing. I don't really
Somebody told you,
care.
"Are you sure you want to go to this space?"
Yeah, and I was like, I don't really care if you believe me or not. I know that, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have imposter syndrome all the time. I have
Have we all have?
exactly, like, I've
So
got the self-confidence issues. But when I walk into a room, I assume that I am smart because I know that I am smart, and it seems very, very that
you
is
are very
different.
smart, actually,
Well, thank you.
and with a lot
But
of
as a
emotional intelligence. This I can tell you.
thank you. But as a female, that's actually a really hard statement to make. Like, because my immediate internal reaction, so for any female listening to this or anyone who identifies similarly as socially raised female, my immediate reaction to just having said that on this podcast, I'm going to give you my real time was, oh, I need to qualify that with the fact that I'm not full of myself. And like, there's so many statements that wanted to come out after I said, because I know I'm smart. There's so much social pressure that wanted to come out of my mouth to qualify that statement. Now, I was very fortunate that you jumped in and validated me, but you don't get that in the tech space all the time. You don't, and you don't get that really in any space, right? It's unusual to get immediate validation when you say something like that. And so you have to learn to have that internal validation, and you have to learn to kind of quiet that voice. That's insecurities. That's how we were raised socially. That's a lot of gendered pressure and all sorts of things. And so quieting that voice down and sort of accepting that you are smart, that you are building something valuable. And that's really where my values and ethics around how I've built my software really helps sort of push that, because it feels bigger than me. It feels more important than me. So it's kind of a way I trick my brain into saying, no, it doesn't matter whether they accept me. They need to accept my software because it is important and it does good work. And so because
brings results, and I'm a data girl, and I can prove it to
exactly,
you.
like, let me show you the money, because that's what foresight, I mean, and I gotta say, like, having a software that brings that promises bringing in more money for folks does make it easier, right?
Yeah,
Because
lower definitely the barrier to entry if you can prove it.
right,
How much money
because
they can save, yeah.
exactly, because
All of
I'm
it
like,
showed.
you've got money sitting in your Instagram DMs. Let Foresight help you find it. So it does, lend itself to a little bit of ease there. But it does take practice to let that stuff roll off your shoulders, to hang with the boys, so to speak, because that's what it feels like. It feels like you have to be someone different when you're in the room. And I've learned that feels gross, and I'm gonna be me. And luckily, I play D&D, I play World of Warcraft, I play, there's a nerd stuff. I go to Comic-Con every year,
You
so I've
can
got enough.
you talk with all of them, yeah.
Exactly, I've got to get enough
You have a
nerd
lot of,
stuff in my library.
They don't know that you grew up with computers, yeah, and your dad was computer
Exactly.
science. That's
So
what
I
they
so
don't
I
know, yeah.
I pull on the nerd stuff where I need to, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah, yeah.
thing. But it's I mean, it's all human connection, and truth. someone who immediately has that bias.
Mm-hmm.
The second I walk up to them and you can see that little sneer, there's a
They're
facial
not good for
expression.
you anyway. You
I'm
don't want
turning
them
around and
anyway.
walking away. I'm like, see ya. Not
We
worth
don't
it.
need you. We don't need you.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, I trained one speaker not long ago. She was or she was working as a C-suite in in an investment bank in London. Yeah, she came to my workshop, and I remember that what she shared with me was devastated. She told me, she's brilliant an investor. We're talking about she could predict, for example, to give you an idea, the big war between
Mm-hmm.
Russia and Ukraine, she predicted before anybody else on the film, and this know
Mm-hmm.
how to sense this.
Yep.
And you are an investor with a large amount of funds. You can stock buy this one and you can make a huge amount of money, right? And
Okay.
she predicted that nobody listened to her. She did that, and when she came to my workshop, she shared with me, Harry, I realized that in my job they hire me because they just want a female in a C-suite because it look good, not because they're gonna hear what I'm gonna say, and not because they think. And I telling her, well, prove them that you're good. She telling me I'm a Harvard graduated. So what is Harry? I told her, write the book. I told me, Harry, what is I gonna prove to them? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Harvard graduated. And what can be higher that that I'm just have the same, I'm as good as them, and I can predict things as good as them. And when they do, everybody listens, everybody take action for the firm. When I do, nobody cares. And the pattern was continuous, until she realized that, yeah, they pay me a lot of money here, but they don't really want to listen to me or want to pay attention on what I say, or they don't even care about my word. That it's just for a big investment bank or big financial thing. If you have the women with this background, whatever, in the
Mm-hmm.
C-suite, it looks good.
Yep.
And
The optics of
it's
it.
sad, but so she quit and then she came to train to speak, and that's what she landed in my workshop.
That's
Yeah, now she's
beautiful.
empowering women in
Love it.
finance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, Kelsey, is that it's gonna be a lot of people that put you down for no reason without even you start talking. Which, yeah, I think the thing to do is to listen first, because you do know what you're talking about, and just what you describe. You're someone that learn, study, research, and trying to be the best at you doing. So. What have been your biggest challenge being in this company, and how you overcome that challenge?
Yeah. So, um, if you don't mind, I'm going to say two.
Yeah, of
So,
course I don't mind. Can say anything here. We're
so,
looking forward to hear from you. And everybody listening, take note. Even the boys, you should write down. Yeah, will
so
be
the
very helpful for you to succeed in tech.
yeah, and the first one is I hate selling. Can't do it. Not good at
Mm.
it. And
Uh,
that's a problem. That can, be a little
oh
bit of
my
an
God,
issue.
if you're a startup founder and you hate selling, and it's only
So
marketing and sales exercise until you make product market fit your first million, how you overcome that thing?
so
That's
I
terrible.
I know, right? So I said, well, maybe I don't have to sell. And you're probably like, oh God, where is she going with this?
Yeah,
Well,
this is not looking good. You better fix it quickly.
so I decided that I was going to build something that people loved, and I was
Wow.
going to have other people sell it for me.
Hmm.
So
It's a
yeah,
lot of value. You don't have
so
to sell it. The thing will it sell
exactly.
itself.
So Foresight HQ is sold almost entirely through affiliates.
Wow, I love
And
the model. Very good.
yeah,
Brilliant.
so I am freed up, so to speak, to recruit affiliates who trust me, who trust the platform, and they are much more experienced at selling than
Absolutely.
I am. And they know their audience better. They have access to much more audience than I do. And
Mm.
so I sell almost exclusively through affiliates and licensing deals. So
Very good.
Foresight HQ can
Love the
also
model.
be Yeah, and it was because I was gonna learn to sell overnight.
It's the
Like I'm
biggest
not
challenge. It's the biggest challenge of entrepreneurs or the
exactly,
tech entrepreneurs to want to do it because they don't know how to sell and
exactly.
is first they have this introverted and to be selling you have an extrovert. Yeah. The other day I went to visit a friend and the kid was open the door. The girl told me, "Hi, you're the new friend of Daddy. Let me show you my drawer." And show me drawer with the bowl that she put in the
Yeah,
hair, and show me her toys and everything. And
that's my daughter.
even the girl didn't let me allow to speak with the dad, and I haven't seen the dad maybe in 15 years. And the girl was so and I thought to my friend, "Look, she's gonna be amazing at sales."
Yeah,
Please, I
that's my
can.
daughter.
She's 4 years
So
old, but I can tell you she will be brilliant at sales, right?
oh my God, my daughter's 4 too, and she's the same way. And I say that's her
Oh yeah,
rebellion against me.
she
I'm gonna
can
have all the
say.
popular kids at my house,
There
and
you go.
I'm completely introverted. But yeah, so figured out a way to have it sold without me having to sell. I mean, I do have to sell in the sense of I have to sell it as a good
You have to sell
affiliate
it to
offer.
them. You need to sell it to
Yeah,
the affiliate. You're selling
but
also.
those are one-on-one conversations. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I can pull on my emotional intelligence, my background in
Mm-hmm.
marketing, things like that. And it's a
You also
high
have
ROI.
leverage. You selling to one person, but that person can go and sell one to many, which is a
Exactly,
very
exactly,
powerful. Very powerful.
exactly. And I have a very generous affiliate process. And also, I implemented a licensing setup. So,
Mm-hmm.
folks that teach selling in direct messaging can purchase bulk licenses at a significant discount and
Very
offer it
good.
as part of their program. So, in these two ways, with affiliate and with licensing, I don't have to sell to the masses. I just have to sell
Sell to
to
the
the folks.
sellers.
And then
Mm.
they are me, I'm trusting them and their folks trust them. And so that's how I really overcame that sales bump. And
Brilliant.
then,
10 out of
yeah,
10. Fantastic.
and then the second really biggest challenge I had was what you referenced at the very beginning of this conversation, and that is that I love the platform that I built so much, and I use it myself that
Mm-hmm.
I kept building bigger and
No.
bigger and bigger. So I actually have,
To
don't mind
stop.
me, I actually have a different version than everyone else because on my account, all those features are not hidden, but on all the other accounts, they're hidden because I keep building features.
Oh,
Guess
yeah.
what? That puts me ahead on the roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
And so once
And
I
and wherever they want something, you already probably have been developed. You just have to
exactly,
untick the hidden
exactly,
thing, piece of code,
basically,
and look, I finished.
I know, so I just toggle it on.
You're
Now
ready for them, yeah?
I have a very unique situation, right? I'm not just a user, I'm also the coder. I also, so like
Mm-hmm.
as someone says,
The
"Oh, it would be
salesperson.
really exactly. It would be really cool to have." Well, I'm like, "Oh, let me see where it might fit on the roadmap." And then I go build it for myself, play with it for a couple of months, and then I release it as this grand release that everyone's so excited for. But in reality, I've been playing with it for 3 months. And
It's
but I have to
amazing.
tell you, yeah, so but that gives me that freedom to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that it's working really well, to make sure that it's actually useful. I hear those user stories that tell
Mm-hmm.
me it's something that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
expected. And then I send those announcements out to my entire audience,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're in a trial, whether they've already
Mm-hmm.
purchased, or whether they've just explored it. And so these new features get released like in a newsletter to everyone who's on my list.
Mm-hmm.
And that usually brings in some people that want to trial it because they want
They
to
help you to polish the pro. They help you to polish the pro. The clients, right?
see.
This is when I started my first business in property. We managed to sell over 5 million. I remember that the first that I have, I opened the door and I showed to a boy. I said, "Look, this is a room. Do you want to rent it?" The guy told me, "No way, you crazy? This room is so it needs some painting. I'm not gonna rent this room." So the guy left. And I was so broke and I need the money so hard. Then I went to the painting shop, to a shop that they sell the things. And I told to the guy, "Listen, I need to paint the room. I never done in my life. I need this." And the guy told me, "Harry, I know that you never paint in a room in your life because everything that you told me that you need, that you don't have any clue what you're doing. So just don't worry. I'm going to give you what you need. Don't just go and paint it." And that's it. So I came back. I paint the floor, the ceiling, the windows, myself. It was a big mess the whole night, you know. Think I spent 12 hours painting and 12 hours removing the paint and putting all over the room. So, but then they come again and said, "Look," I said, "Do you like the room?" And the girl look at the room and said, "Well, it's very painted white, but it's a little bit cold." Usually I live in London, so it needs something warm. No, I'm not gonna take it. The girl left, and I went straight to IKEA. I said, "She want warm? Let me see warm." And then I bought this duvet that they are pink, red, and selling IKEA, pink, red, and orange.
Yeah.
Say warm, okay. So I put one duvet there, and then I bought a paint in black and white with a little bit of red. And then in my way back, I think that I passed for the shop, and I bought a vase with a flower. Pay £1 for it, right?
Yeah.
And then I opened the door to the next get day. I said, "Look, this is the room. Do you want to take it?" And the girl said, "Yes." And that was it.
Yep.
That was 18 years ago when my career of entrepreneur starting. But I'm very grateful for this because
Yes.
they polish the product for me.
Exactly. And
They, I just need to sell it so badly because I need to give the money back to the bank that I borrow. That I had to listen carefully what they
yeah,
want and go move fast straight away and get it done.
exactly.
That was the only way for me to get product market fit. They didn't want to buy when the product, the form that I showed it to them. And if I keep trying and trying and trying and trying, I can tell you it will be sold at
Mm-mm.
the price because the room has a price that I want to make
Yeah,
my
of course.
profit, my this and that, and they were not willing to pay the money in the product that I was presented to them. However, they were telling me tips. Well,
Exactly.
if you do this, well, if you do this, I'm that may consider I'm going doing the things. I'm machine that the reaction of the first boy about the room is
Mm-hmm.
completely different than the second girl.
Mm-hmm.
And the third girl just said, "I'll take it."
Yep.
And I was like, "You gonna take it? I don't believe it. You're really gonna take the room." So,
But
how
that's that
important is to
iterative process.
listen to the clients and to have to listen to your sellers as well because your sellers they are going out selling for you and they also getting feedback. They can tell
Exactly.
you, "Look, would be nice if this is this. They having a point of resistance here. They having this. Could you can to do that?" So you have to have direct communication, not only because you're not facing the end client. So you need to check the review that what they're about the product, but also be in communication with your sellers, right?
Well, and that's what's beautiful about doing it through the sellers is it's a diverse group of affiliates,
Mm-hmm.
whereas my audience would be fairly homogenous. With
Mm-hmm.
them, it's all different industries. So I have so much more exposure to different kinds of users. And so that feedback is just so much more robustly valuable that for me, I don't know that I would ever sell it differently. Even if, even as I get better at
Mm-hmm.
selling, I don't know that I'd switch because it's just so valuable.
So tell us a little bit more about your product. What it does, how you can show the money to the client. I'm looking forward to hit that part. How can you show them the money, how they can save money, and how can find you, how this process work, if they want to know more about it. But tell us, how can you help people, how the thing actually works.
Yeah. So Foresight HQ, Foresight like oracles, they have Foresight HQ is an AI augmented lead scoring platform for DMs in social media. And so right now we're connected to Instagram and Facebook. We're looking into Twitter, and then it'll eventually go to TikTok once the API is released in the US.
DM means direct message, right?
Correct. Direct
Yeah.
messaging. And
Yeah,
so,
this issue we have with
um,
the tech people, that they,
yeah,
they think that the language is
too many
is
algorithms.
a
I
common
mean,
common knowledge, but
too many abbreviations. Yeah.
so,
So in direct messaging for social media platforms.
mhm.
And so what I in That Matters program, I bring corporate level analytics to small businesses at a small business price point. And so I was digging into the back end of
Wow.
some of really cool businesses and getting sort of telling that customer buying story. And a lot of times I was finding that
Your
in
psychology
those,
background is helping a lot because you
oh
can
yeah,
analyze buying behaviors,
exactly.
which
And
is
so
priceless.
I've been very fortunate. So I was realizing that because their direct message inbox was so overflowing with folks reaching out to them, or their mini chat, which is an automated like comment burger to get the link kind of thing, that they were getting buried in messages and losing real actual leads. And so I built this really small little platform, tested it on myself, and then it grew into Foresight HQ. And what Foresight HQ does is it using an algorithm that I built to analyze buying psychology of messages for intent. So it's buying intent, simple inquiries, support, feedback, a bunch of different things, urgency, frequency, and also tracks conversions. And it uses all of that information to create a score for that lead. And then that lead gets surfaced into a dashboard. So you can see a dashboard of your hottest, highest
Oh,
intent.
wow. Very
And it
good.
doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter how buried they are in your inbox. It
Very
surfaces
impressive.
them right there. And then you can message right from the platform. So I've built all
So
the
depend what they're answering, you can score and you know how hot is the lead. Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yep. And so you can
Amazing.
see which folks are really ready to buy, which folks are on the fence. The system to them appropriately, so you know who needs a little bit more of a nudge, who just needs that, hey, are you ready to go?
How about
And
have messages to turn them from cold to hot?
yeah, so it shows what I call waning leads, which is that they were hot, but they are decreasing. And so it
Oh,
tags them
wow.
so that you can reach out to them and re-engage them. And then that score will change based on their response. And so you sort of get this undulating score for
How
folks.
about
And
who's
I
called? How about whoever is called? Like, let's say they score. Okay, the score is from 0 to 100, right?
yeah,
So how
keep
about
it simple.
someone that is scoring 20?
Yeah.
And what can we do in order to increase to move them from 20, which we can call it cold, to
Mm-hmm.
80 or 90, which we can call it warm, ready to buy? There is an automatic process that can turn those leads from cold to warm.
So right now, there's no automation in Foresight on purpose. So typically, the folks that purchase Foresight HQ, they have ManyChat already, and that's their automation structure. And Foresight is sort of that human next step to move them
Mm-hmm.
from a ManyChat automation into an actual, I call it
Mm-hmm.
the scalable, unscalable, right? So it's the scalable direct outreach. So for your cold folks, it does tag them as waning or cold, and you can go in and you can work on that.
You
You
have
can
to
see
work on
when
them. I get it.
exactly.
I get
Yep.
it.
So it's not
Until the
meant to be.
system give you the score that you require. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it. Get it.
So typically folks that end up going forward with Foresight HQ, they are already a bit overwhelmed with their inbox, or the
Mm-hmm.
phrase is always, my inbox is a mess. And so by surfacing those hottest leads, they can ignore all those cold leads. Now, I also have it set up so that you can bring a VA in and your VA can go through them. And that's when you start to be able
Oh,
to get into
wow.
the cold
Amazing.
lead and
So
things
the
like that. And so,
So this may, because I'll use it. We so this one it works for Facebook. And
so
for what
many,
else is good? The many chat.
yeah. So many
I'm
chat,
using in Facebook, which is it did brilliant. You know, the thing can comment back,
yep,
and we can send it to different directions. And I don't know
exactly.
too
Yeah, many
much
chats.
about thing, but my IT team
Yeah.
they know a lot, and they know how to.
ManyChat's beautiful for
It's
automated.
very good.
It does Instagram and Facebook. And then I tend to tell people that Foresight HQ is your next step. Once you've got ManyChat really working for you well, you've got those automations set up, and it's moving people onto your email address. Pardon me, onto your email system. They're getting your on your list, all that good stuff. Then you need to take that next step into really converting them. And you're doing
Hundred
some of that
percent.
on your emails platform. But typically, if they're engaging with you via mini chat on Instagram or Facebook, that's probably where they live most of the time. That's where they're
Hundred
trusting you.
percent.
And so your email is is important. Like it's you need to own that list, no question. But you're going to get best conversions where they first contacted you. So
Mhm.
Foresight HQ is where that comes in. And I'm
Mm.
actually, I'll share it here, but don't tell anyone, ha ha ha. But I'm working on implementing ManyChat's API into Foresight, and so
Very good.
because they have
That'll
a
be
really,
amazing.
yeah, and so they'll work together,
I know you can
and
do it because you're so clever.
so I'm really excited about that.
Oh,
That's
when
about
you connect
6 months
the
away.
API of many chat to
Yep,
that thing, oh, it's gonna be amazing because it's
exactly,
gonna
and
bring
so they'll be
everybody
able to.
straight away.
Yep, and so
Wow.
what's really fun about that is that insights from Foresight will be able to trigger many chats. And so if someone is waning, you will be able to do an automation
Wow.
in chat. So I'm still working on
Very
it. No
good for people
promises
that have
for
high ticket products out there.
exactly.
Very
And
good.
we've seen serious success with those high ticket programs because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
think about it. If you even 2 extra people a month, what does that mean for your
If you
income?
have a high ticket, he might.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Like, I mean, I work with folks who have $6,000, $10,000 offers. They get 2 extra conversions a month. Like, they're set. And that way it also offsets those slower times and all of that. And these are DMs that are already sitting in their inbox. They're
Mm-hmm.
just getting left because they have, they don't
Too
have the
many.
system.
At some
And
point,
I know you have a lot of folks on this podcast
the,
that kind of say this same thing. Systems are important,
the
right?
main
Like
reason we use this many chat in the first place,
exactly,
it was too many people writing in Facebook was driving us crazy. So
exactly,
we put the thing. Uh,
exactly. So HQ is just the next step, right after mini chat.
very good, very good. Wow,
And
that's
if
fantastic.
anyone is interested in checking it out, it's just foresightHQ.app, FORESIGHT HQ.app. And I'm also always open for questions on Instagram. I'm Kelsey E. Silver. Don't forget the E.
Very good. So, Casey, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for the broadcast. I think you're brilliant and you're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well. And I think that everyone, right? We had this talk the other day. I was speaking about this with the PR
Mhm.
person that came to the podcast, and we were talking about exactly what you just shared about we have a trust crisis, right?
Mhm.
And we were discussing that if you appear in the magazine, things like that, can increase your trust. But the thing that increasing that, right, or knowing where is the person that can to buy can increase your conversion. And we all talk about more lead, more lead, more lead. How about your conversion rate? If you do
Yeah.
something tiny in the conversion rate,
Oh, yeah.
I remember for one of those events that we did, I think it was in Singapore. We have this landing page, and we put 200, 300 people in Singapore, and then we're doing those running in Facebook and the landing page, and somebody saying to the team, you know what? Let's put the magazine. I have a magazine where I'm in the cover of the magazine. Somebody said, you know what? Let's split test and let's do one one
Hmm.
version with. And
Gotta
what
love A/B
happened? The conversion increased dramatically. I'm just who was this idea? Who's who had the idea to put that magazine? So I discovered, how when you're showing the money, I discovered how profitable can be if you just can increase your conversion rate. And it's software a tool like you are just designing that it's kind of the same thing to
Yeah,
have to be in a
exactly.
cover of a
Yeah.
magazine. Unfortunately, not too many people
No, and
have that,
that's what I
but
mean.
it will increase the trust, and increasing the trust,
Exactly.
that you can increase your conversion. You see the income, it make a
Yeah.
huge difference. I remember that when I was doing this, the problem was that I was paying a lot for leads. So I
Yeah.
went to my team and told the guys, what's going on with this thing, or is getting to feed this room. Usually,
Yeah. Why
and
not make those leads more valuable by
exactly,
converting more of them?
exactly, and increase the
Absolutely.
conversion. We're talking
That's what I
about
mean about it's the
big
metrics that
numbers,
matter.
and with
Yeah.
people for high ticket product, even better. So a 10 out of 10. I think you're brilliant. Yeah, you're very clever and you're going to do fantastic. Yeah,
Thank you.
and I'm under the impression that you're going to build a camel rather than a unicorn that
I'm
will
trying.
survive no matter what. Yeah, so
I
thank you
appreciate it.
thank you much. And for all of you following the broadcast, our next episode, how brave entrepreneur like Kelsey break the wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.